Welcome, beloveds. Welcome to Ascension Live. I am Astarius Miraculii, and today's subject is self-love. Self-love is a divine inheritance, your divine inheritance, from you to you. And it's time to claim your love trust fund. It is time for us to claim our love trust fund. I see a lot of you beloveds popping in. I'm loving you so much. I see you, I feel you, I empower you, I enrich you, I perfectly accept you. So I want to share with you a piece that I wrote that centers around self-love. I call it, I Do Take Me. It's a tribute to the most forgotten loved one, which is self. I love myself with all my heart. Eternal knowing, God impart. No more hatred, no more pain. Legacy of heaven, mine to claim. Once, I really hated me, a self-induced catastrophe. Others began to hate me too. Hate's reflection became my due. When I look in any mirror, each reflection is my own. If I dislike that which I am, rejection by others will be shown. In self-acceptance, let me grow, to hereby let all others know I want them to accept me too. They only follow what I do. I ask myself to marry me, to thus fulfill my destiny. I promise always to be true. Self-love and honor I am due. Sweet self, I'm sorry for the pain. Forgive and love me once again. I want me for eternity, a better lover than to be. Now every bond is sweeter too, For loving me is loving you. Within the temple of heaven's house, I do take me to be my spouse. Within the temple of heaven's house, I do take me to be my spouse. And that's a selection from my book, Miraculii, Song of Ascension. So let's break this piece down. The first stanza says, I love myself with all my heart, eternal knowing God impart. No more hatred, no more pain, legacy of heaven mine to claim. You see, when we're loving ourselves with all of our heart, then there is an eternal knowingness, an eternal wisdom that is imparted by Creator Source, by God, the God essence within us, that resonance of divinity that lives within the vortex of creation of our soul, the inner sanctum of our soul, the I and the I am of the storm, which is the central core that is uncontaminatable by any of the craziness that exists within the outwardness of life. The eternal knowing that is imparted by Creator within enables us to ride on the wings of this love vibration. No more hatred, no more pain. Legacy of heaven mine to claim. Love is our legacy. Love is our inheritance. It is our divine inheritance from us to us. But it has to be claimed. Just like when one has a trust fund. As a baby, just like in the family of the Kennedys, a baby was born and they put $1 million in trust for that little one, but they couldn't claim that money until they reached the age of maturity. And in this particular case, reaching the age of maturity is about up-leveling into that place of our worthiness, where we know we are worthy to claim the love which has already been given unto us. Next stanza, once I really hated me, a self-induced catastrophe. Others began to hate me too. Hate's reflection became my due. Sometimes we get trapped in self-loathing, in self-hatred. And even when we are in a state of hating another being, that too is self-hatred. It is the hatred of the all that is, because if you hate the drop, you hate the ocean. You can't separate. Some would love to say, I love this ocean, but I despise this wave over here. If you despise the wave, you despise the ocean. If you despise another, you despise yourself. So be careful not to cast the stone, else one of the birds you'll kill is you. For if you can't see the highest in another, it dies within you too. See, hate's reflection became my due. See, it is going to be a reflexed boomerang that comes right back at us when we're having those dark feelings toward another being. And because at the very central core of their being is the essence of divinity, if we hate the individual, we're hating the God within them. Let us rise in the resonance of self-love. When I look in any mirror, each reflection is my own. If I dislike that which I am, rejection by others will be shown. See, we can't lead where we won't go, and the mirror won't reflect what we don't show. And so coming into the full resonance of love and self-love is about loving ourselves in the way that we want the beloved to love us, because Ours is the only example that they have to follow in terms of them loving us. And all love is self-love, because there is no self apart from the great oneness of being that we all are a part of. When I'm loving you, I'm loving me by extension. When you're loving me, you're loving you by extension. When we are loving the universe, we are loving ourselves by macrocosmic extension. As we receive the macrocosmic love of God that is microcosmically portaled in and through the individualization of our being. To be in the resonance of self-love is to let love love you. You let love love you when you are beyond getting caught up in expectations for others to behave in a particular way. I got snared in that not too long ago myself, wanting a beloved to behave in a certain way, and then becoming a little bit upset because they were behaving differently than that which I would have preferred. And for a short period of time, I got so caught up in my own expectations that I experienced a disturbance in my emotional force. And thank God I didn't stay there for too long. I suddenly realized, I'm in a state of being so agitated by someone else's behavior that I have momentarily forgot to be loving on me. And when I realized that, I immediately shifted my attention to the reality of how much I absolutely love and adore this one, my own self. And all of that agitation and that negative vibration just began to roll away, because I was paying attention to the reality of me loving me rather than paying attention to the reality of someone behaving differently than my expectations. If you're caught in expectations, or whenever we are caught in our expectations of what we expect someone else to do, then we are not in a state of self-loving. Now, expectations are not a bad thing if we're coming from the exaltation of expectation, which is the expectation of inspiration. And when we're in the expectation of inspiration, then we're not in a place of desperately needing someone to be a certain something. We want what we want, but we don't desperately need it. And we're not put off if we don't get it. We just make a certain adjustment. Because the joy and the love frequency is a choice that exists within the central core of our being. And no matter what the external conditions are, whether it be a pandemic, whether it be a mass frenzy of fear in the world, there is something within us in the inner sanctum of our being, which is called the resonance of love, that has absolutely got our back, got our caboose, and we can count on love to be there for us, but we have to pay attention to the fact that it is eternally there. Love is never missing. And one of the cosmic jokes is that you can't not love yourself. You see, you can allow attention to become hijacked from the fact that you love yourself infinitely, and you can be in the illusion of self-loathing, the illusion of self-hatred, while in that very same moment, there's this infinite reality of your being in an eternal state of loving on you and loving on you and loving on you and loving on you. Let love love you. You let love love you when you let go of the judgments. See, and when you let love love you, that is the simplicity of you loving you. Because love is not something that you do. You don't do love, love does you. We don't do love, love does us. because love is an eternal reality, co-eternal with God, always there, infinitely unfolding down the corridors of forever. And to be in a state of self-loving, loving self in the individual self or loving self in the universal sense, is just a matter of allowing love and letting love be, saying, love, have your way with me. I sit at the feet of the eternal wisdom that exists within love, because love carries the wisdom of Creator Source. Next stanza. In self-acceptance let me grow, to hereby let all others know. I want them to accept me too, but they only follow what I do. You can't lead where you won't go, and the mirror won't reflect what you don't show. And so I ask myself to marry me, to thus fulfill my destiny. I promise always to be true, self-love and honor I am due. See, promise to be true to yourself. Promise yourself that you can count on you. Promise yourself that you will be there for you no matter who else isn't there for you. And even when an individual is not there for you, God is there for you. And every dance with an individual is in truth a dance with divinity. It is a rendezvous with God. And if we can remember that, we will be the most courageous lovers that we can be. Because even if the person that we're loving is not reciprocating the love back to us, we are in the infinite awareness that the love didn't stop with them, but the love moved through them and was given unto God Almighty, that always appreciates that love and will always reciprocate the blessing back to us. Love is never wasted. Never allow yourself to be assaulted by the illusion that you've wasted your love on any beloved. You cannot waste your love on God. And any being that you're giving your love to, at the inner sanctum of that being, is the essence of God Almighty. Doesn't always mean that that being is in the exemplification of God in that moment of their evolvement. But it doesn't alter the fact that God is infinitely there, right there within the inner sanctum of being. I ask myself to marry me, to thus fulfill my destiny. I promise always to be true, self-love and honor I am due, sweet self. I'm sorry for the pain. Forgive and love me once again. I want me for eternity, a better lover than to be. Now every bond is sweeter too, for loving me is loving you. Within the temple of heaven's house, I do take me to be my spouse. Have you ever married yourself? Have you ever said, I do to you? That's a very sacred and important marriage to have. The marriage to self. When we have the presence of mind and heart to marry ourselves individually, then the quality of our relationships externally skyrocket through the roof of the cosmos. I see a beloved saying they married themselves this summer. Congratulations on that. Marry self. Now, love is always taking place. It's always there. So let's be of the intention that we're taking the celestial flash drive of love, the memory stick that carries the recorded memory of all the love that is, was, or ever will be, and we're going to stick it right into the computer of our heart. And we're going to let the infinite reality of love play within the inner sanctum of our being. We don't have to manufacture love. We don't have to coerce love into being. We just allow love to have its way with us. I let love love me. I want to share here a piece, or actually here it is. I channel God's love. This is a download I got a couple months ago, offering some frequency of upliftment, in the middle of this world crisis, this pandemic, because love is a healing balm. I channel God's love. I channel the love that God feels for me. I allow love to have its way with me as I express love to me and all that is. I channel the full power of God's absolute love, the full power of God, Goddess, absolute, angels, and ascended masters. I allow the harmonic convergence of my consciousness with the ascended host. I remember and I allow the divine resonance of my existence. All realities and experiences are serving unto my expansion and empowerment. I am empowered by everything. I channel the peace that God intends for me. I am in the arms of peace, that peace that surpasses all understanding. I am immune to all viruses, disease, and anti-divinity. If it ain't divine, it ain't mine. Only what's divine is truly mine. I channel the wisdom from the heart of God. I am infinite intelligence and the awakening of cosmic consciousness. I am the spiritual and biological living library containing the knowledge of everything that is, was, or ever will be. The Akashic records have been downloaded into my mind. I dream awake, total enlightenment. I commemorate the infinite past and pre-memorate the eternal future, which is harmonically converged in the now memoration of my now moment. I remember who I am. I remember that I am is the name and nature that I share with God in the family of life. I channel the unlimited material abundance of God, and I am a billionaire of being. I honor my wealth in form and formlessness. I channel my inner child, the little elder within me, who is the root of my godhood. I play my way all the way back into the arms of God absoluteness. The way is shown and I am home. I channel God's divine vision. I see and awaken the intended beauty and blessings within everyone and everything. The supreme peace of Creator Source flows in and through me, and all who are in my eternal presence are lit up by this radiance. I am so honored to be a beloved source of life's expansion and empowerment. Blessed be God's giving through me. I channel God's worth and infinite validation of my soul. With eyes of wisdom, I see that God values me by virtue of my being. So from now on, I will do, achieve, and create for the sheer joy of it. Yes, my Creator has taught me that the true measurement of my worth is in the root of my being. I therefore live, move, and have my being in infinite intelligence and abundance absolute. I channel my divinity. I allow my awakening. I am that I am. God within my body, mind, heart, and soul. Feel the resonance of that, beloved. Allow that to pierce to your central core. And one other piece that I downloaded a couple months ago also is the letter to my blessings. Dear blessings, one and all, thank you for pouring down like waterfalls from heaven upon me, every being, and the whole of sweet earth. Thank you, Creator Source, for aligning us with our worthiness that summons all blessings that are, were, or ever will be. Every time is now. Every space is here. Everyone is me. Dear love, wisdom, and divine power, thank you for awakening within me, within my heart mind of myself and the heart mind of all. Thank you, love, for being our eternal go-to and being instantly available to us no matter how long we have turned away from you. Thank you for teaching us that to love all beings is to love the furthest reaches of our own self. Love is eternal, and hate will pass away. Thank you, wisdom, for being the awareness within us that we are rising triumphant over every world crisis. We are empowered by everything. Thank you, wisdom, for affirming my redemption and the redemption of all. At the center of our being, we are all innocent, and by mercy and compassion unto heaven we are sent. Resurrection of ascension, and God is found in man and woman, and we all are family members of the great ascended clan. Thank you, divine power within me and all, for being our worldwide affirmation of dissolving fear, disease, and malicious mechanisms of control. Dear divine love, thank you for intimately introducing us to compassion and motivating us to share it with all. Thank you, compassion, for teaching me, for teaching us that we are co-eternal with God and how to guide darkness back into the family of light. Dear God, Goddess Absolute, thank you for revealing to me that I am a prime creator. Thank you for teaching us that all blessings and realities already exist as formless embryos in the womb of creation, in the womb of our soul. Thank you for teaching us that in order to bring creation into manifestation, we simply allow ourselves to receive what is already given and to focus our attention upon that which we truly want. Within our asking and allowing is the blossoming seed of our receiving. All genuine prayers are pre-answered, and all blessings are pre-given. The pre-physical level of reality is the first stage of giving and receiving. Dear infinite blessings, I allow and let there be your eternal downpour upon me and the all that is. I am that I am. I dream awake, and it is done. Appreciate you receiving that download. All is well in the kingdom of this sacred moment. Be sure and experience my website, Astarius.com, and I have a great number of music albums and a couple of books there. I am available for intuitive astrological readings as well as sound healing transmissions with didgeridoo. I also teach Reiki. I am transmitting to you from the Red Rocks of Sedona, which is my home. I am here in my temple, which is called Ascension Temple, which is a vortex in the Sedona vortexes. So you might be visiting here. Many people have traveled here and done work with me. Thank you all for that. I love doing the one-on-one work, even though the greater majority of my work is virtual, because I do sessions for people all over the country and all over the world as well. I have more than 700 videos via the 3 platforms of Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And I'm so honored for the great numbers of people that I'm touching, more than 2.9 million views at this point. Thank you all who have been, of the presence of mind and heart to partake of my offerings. I'm so grateful for that. Be sure and share all of your comments, because things that you share can quite often be an amazing blessing for others. So, somebody asked a question here. Irene says, why then are we told that we are not God? How is it humble to say that I am? Okay, so that's a wonderful question. Thank you for that question, beloved. God is a oneness of wholeness of being. A wave in an ocean is qualitatively all that the ocean is. If you took a wave into the laboratory and analyzed it, you would find that every element found within the whole body of the ocean is also found in the one wave. So the wave is qualitatively all that God is, as we are qualitatively all that God is. Now notice I said qualitatively. See, the quantitativeness of God represents all that is. That's the omnipresence of God. There are 3 primary things that define the resonance of God. Omnipresence, evenly present everywhere, omnipotent, all-powerful, and omniscient, all-knowing. So, when I acknowledge the essence of God that I am in acknowledgement of that, not only for myself individually, because if I'm trying to acknowledge myself as an expression of God, but splintered off from the rest of me, then I'm in ego. Ego operates within separation and exclusiveness. You see, whereas the divinity within us operates in the all-inclusiveness. So yes, you are the very essence of God. When God breathed the breath of life into all of us, it was God breathing the fabric of God's own being into us, and we became living soul extensions of Creator, and we are microcosmic creators. And even when there's just an acknowledgement of the glory of one's own individual self, I love to acknowledge myself. And to praise myself. And when I acknowledge myself, then I say, I am this wonderful being in honor of and in connection with all beings. So even when I celebrate myself, I celebrate every other being by extension. And in that way, there is no room for ego, because ego operates exclusively rather than all-inclusively. And also there's, many of our teachers in the world have been teaching from a very twisted perspective. And so, we are taught, to think small of ourselves. There are even some scriptures that would say, in the sight of God, I am no more than a filthy rag, or these kinds of things that are very diminishing to the self-esteem. So, yes, beloved, you are the microcosmic expression of God Absolute. And I hold the intention that you will be owning that, because that's who you really are, and that's who we all are, because we're fashioned from divinity. And we couldn't be any less than that creator source that brought us into being. And so it is. You're welcome and infinitely worthy, beloved. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions popping through before I close this transmission. Oh, I love you too. I love you with the passion of heaven. What an honor it is to love you, and what an honor it is to be loved by you. And what a blessing that in the loving we just allow love to have its way with us. That's all that is required. Thank you, Andrea. I receive that awesomeness that you acknowledge me as. I receive that compliment fully, and I ask you to fully own it along with me, because I am also your own self by extension. So as you have shared that compliment with me, you own it as well. And I'm sure that one day we will meet, Irene. I see that, and you say you can't wait to meet me, but don't long for it. Don't long for meeting with me, because you belong to meeting with me and I belong to meeting with you. So the wisdom in life is transcending from longing to belonging, because the reality of our circling in together already exists as an intangible embryo in the womb of the universe. So there you have it. Anyway, love and light to all you beloveds. I love you with the passion of heaven. And Ascension Live takes place every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, on Facebook, as well as on Instagram every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Remember to love yourself with the passion of heaven, and remember that self-love is your inheritance from you to you. So it's time for you to claim your love trust fund. I'm definitely claiming mine. Namaste.